Hey there, my name is Andrew, and in this video I wanted to show you how to connect an external domain name that you purchased outside of your ClickFunnels account with the account that you are using in ClickFunnels. I would like to note right away that if you have any content on the main website, so if you, for instance, have the domain of chocolate.com and you have a website or a service connected to this domain, it is no longer going to work after you connect it to ClickFunnels. So if you have this situation, you will need to set up a subdomain instead, and you can find the links to the tutorials on how to do that in the description of this video. In any other case, this video is for you. So I'm going to connect the custom domain that I purchased with GoDaddy. Don't worry about it, because if you have a different domain register, for example Namecheap or Bluehost, it works the same way with 90% of the domain registers out there. So what you need to do is to have a purchased domain name. After that, you will need to set up one CNAME record and set up a forwarding rule. In order to add the domain name that you purchased outside of your ClickFunnels account, you need to go to the domains tab here. So click on the domains in your account dashboard and click add new domain. After that, we're given an option and we need to select the right option, add your own domain. The left one is going to purchase a domain with ClickFunnels. We don't want that in this particular case, so we need to use an existing domain. The tricky part is that you need to use the domain name with 3 W's. So if I have ourwaytosuccess.com purchased with GoDaddy, I'm not able to add it directly to ClickFunnels without 3 W's. I will need to add 3 W's in front of the domain name and click Add Domain Name. So if you want to connect it without 3 W's, you will need to use Cloudflare, since it is the only option at the moment to connect an external domain to ClickFunnels without 3 W's. You will find the tutorial on how to do that in the description of this video. If you want to connect it with 3 W's, you will need to set up the CNAME record and the forwarding rule in GoDaddy, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video. So it will ask you to connect your domain to ClickFunnels, and it will give you the record to add. You will need to add the CNAME record of 3 W's pointed to target.clickfunnels.com. What we need to do is to go to the DNS zone of your domain. So in whatever domain register you are at the moment, I'm in GoDaddy, you will need to go to the DNS zone manager. And in there you will find the CNAME records. Generally, for a domain that is purchased, you already have some records. In this case, you will need to delete the A record and the CNAME record for 3 W's. If you don't have any records, that's good for you, but if you have records of A and you have the CNAME record for 3 W's, you will need to remove them. We're going to do that by clicking the trash icon in GoDaddy, and we are going to remove the second one I was referring to in order to complete the setup. After that, as ClickFunnels told us, we need to add a single CNAME record. So we need to click Add. The type we select is always CNAME. The host is 3 W's, points to target.clickfunnels.com. If you type it in, make sure you don't make any typos, or you can just copy this text from the tab that you have in your ClickFunnels account. So in here, you are given the following options: selection of the CNAME record type, so you need to select CNAME record here. The host is 3 W's, points to, so where it points to is target.clickfunnels.com, and TTL should be standard, so don't change it, and click Save. This is the CNAME record that we need to add, but in this setup, since we're not using Cloudflare, we are adding it as a subdomain. So we added the subdomain of 3 W's, but the main domain name is still not connected. How we handle this is through forwarding. So from ourwaytosuccess.com, we will forward traffic to 3ws.ourwaytosuccess.com. In order to do that, you will need to find the section to handle forwarding. In GoDaddy, you can find it here. In any other domain register, you will need to find it. And you will need to find the forwarding rule of forwarding from the root of the domain, which is, in our case, ourwaytosuccess.com. We will need to forward to https 3 W's dot domain name of yours. So in our case, it is ourwaytosuccess.com. So I will type it in, ourwaytosuccess.com. it is going to be a permanent redirect, and we need to check off the box to update my name service and DNS settings to support this change. We need to click Save, and we can see that in some domain registers we already have an issue with that. But in GoDaddy it can take a couple of tries to set up the forwarding or a certain record. So if you have this unexpected error occurring in GoDaddy, don't worry about it, just refresh the page, and most of the time you will find yourself with the following situation, and you just need to reset them up. So we're going to type it in right away and going to update the name service and set up this change. As you can see from the second try, it worked with no issue, and it will give you the disclaimer. So whenever you make any changes to the domain register of yours, and whenever you set up redirects like that, it will take some time to kick in the changes. So whenever you change name service, whenever you change CNAME records or set up forwarding, it can take up to 24 hours to kick in the changes in your domain register. If you don't wait to do that, you will not be able to follow the setup, even you will not be able to verify the records in ClickFunnels. So if you set up the record, CNAME record of 3Ws pointed to target.clickfunnels.com and check it right away, the chances are high that you will not succeed. So you will need to wait a little bit. We usually require you to wait up to 24 hours officially, but of course it takes, usually 99% of the time, it takes no longer than a couple of minutes. So right now, what we did was to set up the CNAME record and the forwarding. The CNAME record we set up is 3Ws pointed to target.clickfunnels.com. The reason why we deleted the first record was you cannot use the same name of the CNAME record and point it to two different places. So if you already have a CNAME record pointed elsewhere, you will need to remove it and set up the new one and point 3Ws to target.clickfunnels.com. The reason why we set up the forwarding was because essentially we're adding the subdomain of 3ws.ourwaytosuccess.com. If we don't set up the forwarding, ourwaytosuccess.com URL without any 3Ws, it is not going to work. So we need to redirect traffic from this one to the domain name we are adding in ClickFunnels. And how we do that is to set up the forwarding rule from the root of the URL, which is ourwaytosuccess.com. So root of the URL is the domain name you purchased, to https:// and the domain name of yours with 3Ws. So 3Ws, ourwaytosuccess.com in our case. So after we do that, we need to go back to ClickFunnels and click I've done this step. It will require you to wait a little bit if it is a new setup. Since I have set up this domain multiple times in my test account, it is going to work right away. After we do that, we need to click just show me my domains. After we do that, we are taken to the domains tab, and you can see that we added our domain name as 3ws.ourwaytosuccess.com, but it is only verified, not secured, which means we have not finished the setup. So you can see that this gray lock is not really green. It says that domain has not been secured yet. What we need to do is finalize the setup by going into the domain settings, by clicking this cog. And in here, we will find some crucial points to complete. First of all, the default page. The default page is absolutely crucial when you want to set up a domain. Default page is the funnel step where people are redirected to when they enter this domain name of yours. So whatever you add, in our case, it is 3Ws, ourwaytosuccess.com, it is going to be redirected to the funnel step that you select here. If you don't select a funnel step here, it is going to redirect them to clickfunnels.com. So you don't want to lose traffic, obviously. So what you need to do is to select a funnel step out of your ClickFunnels account. First, you will find the funnel name, then comes the funnel page name. So I want to connect it to my first funnel and the test page I have created. So if I click on this URL or type it in manually, it is going to take me to the My First Funnel test page. If I want to change it, I just go into the settings right back and change it to any other funnel step I want to point this domain to. The next step is to set up the 404 page. 404 page is the page where people are redirected to when they make a small typo. So when they enter, for example, Our Way to Success and 3S at the end instead of 2S, the chances are high that this domain name does not exist, so it is going to take them to the 404 page. And usually what you need to select is the same funnel step that you have selected as the default page. What you need to do is to scroll to it and click Save. If you have a dedicated 404 page for this domain, you will need to select it here, but generally what people do is to set up a default page and a 404 page to be the same ones. So after you do that, just refresh the page and make sure that you connected two of them. And the last but not least is setting up SSL. SSL is making the domain secure. So SSL certificate is what makes your domain secure and adds this green badge of secure right below this URL. And you will find HTTPS in front of each secure URL. If you don't add the SSL certificate to the domain name, it is not going to display some of the content properly. And most importantly, it will not support all types of pages. So it will not work with order form pages, membership pages, and all the pages that require high security certificate. So basically, if you don't connect the SSL, some of the functionality of this domain is not going to be supported. So it is very important that you complete the SSL issuing. How you check back on it is by clicking Check Now. It can take up to 24 hours for a fresh domain that has never been added to ClickFunnels, but since my domain name is going to be added like third time, it is a test domain, it is going to issue it right away. For you, you don't need to worry about it because it can take up to 24 hours to issue the SSL certificate on our end. You don't need to worry about it because we issue it for free and we issue it automatically. All you need to do is to click Add SSL button, and from that moment count down to 24 hours. You can manually check back on it by clicking the Check Now button that was here before I clicked on it, and if nothing changes, it means the SSL is not ready. If it changes to SSL is enabled for this domain text, it means that the domain is secure. If we go to the Domains tab, we can find that the domain actually is secured with the green lock, and the status changed from verified to secured. The last step we need to follow is to actually add the domain to our funnel. So what we need to do is to go to the funnel, go to the settings of the funnel. You can see that this is my default URL, but I want to have it on my domain that I added. I need to go to the settings and select this domain in the selection of the domains I have. After that, scroll down to the bottom of the page and click Save and Update Settings. You will notice that all the funnel steps will be updated with the up-to-date domain name, and all the links will actually be customized with your domain name after that point. Also, just a quick note, after you make all these changes, please wait up to 24 hours because officially we require you to wait up to 24 hours to finalize the setup. It is a requirement because domain registers and we need to verify the CNAME records and activate them. And if you set up the domain and click on this link right away, it might not work. So you will need to wait a couple of minutes. Usually it takes a couple of hours to kick in the changes in all the regions of the world. But for some reason, if you click on it and it does not work, it can actually mean that you need to wait a little bit for the domain to actually work. So you can see that right now it is waiting for the setup of my domain, and it means that I need to wait a couple more minutes. So I'm going to do that and pause the video. And after waiting for a couple of minutes, I'm going to retry visiting the URL, and you can see that it works just fine. So it is just the perfect example of why you need to wait a couple of minutes to actually test out the domain, because it really takes time to issue the SSL, to verify the records, to activate the records in the domain register on the back end. So whenever you handle this setup, please don't rush into things and take your time to test it. And if it does not work, give it up to 24 hours to kick in every region of the world. So just to quickly recap, what we did was to buy a domain outside of ClickFunnels, and to connect it, you need to implement two things. First of all, you need to add the CNAME record of 3 W's pointed to target.clickfunnels.com. So no matter what you actually, what domain you actually purchased, you need to add this CNAME record of 3 W's pointed to target.clickfunnels.com. And you will need to set up the forwarding of https:// outerwaytosuccess.com. to https://3ws.ourwaytosuccess.com. Of course, if you have your own domain name, for example, chocolate.com, ourwaytosuccess.com will be replaced by your domain name. So if you are using any other domain register, what you need to set up the forwarding from is the following symbol. So this is the root domain of yours, and you need to forward it to https://3ws.domain name of yours. If you have chocolate.com, it is going to be https://3ws.chocolate.com. After that, what you need to do is to finalize the setup in your ClickFunnels account by going into the domain settings, adding the domain and verifying it, setting up the default page and the 404 page, issuing the SSL certificate in this tab, and making sure it is fully secure. After that, what you go into is the funnel. You go into the funnel settings, add the domain, and wait a little bit longer, a couple of minutes or usually an hour, and after that retest the funnel and you will see that it works just fine. I hope this video was helpful for you, and if you have any questions on the setup of the domain in your ClickFunnels account, please never hesitate and contact our awesome support team by clicking this Get Help widget in the right bottom corner. Thank you.